Some people hate it, some people like it. I love it. That being Shattered Glass. And this is sort of unexpectedly, because it showed up at retail here. This is Shattered Glass Starscream. We're going to try and make this one kind of quick. Most of it's going to be comparisons and stuff. I'm not going to lie, because we've seen the tetrajet mold a bunch of times, but he's going to be our focus this time around in the latest GotBot True review. Hey all, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, your most humble of hosts, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, man, please like, comment, share, of course, subscribe, and while you're at it, loud my baby. And hit that notification bell, please. It helps me out a ton. It lets you know when content of all sorts goes up here on the channel. Check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor, all the groups that I'm either a mod or an admin for, as well as all of my social media links. All that's in the description down below. Also in the description down below. And if you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. You can check us out on Patreon. You can see what we offer to you through Teespring, or of course, you can hit the join button right here on YouTube and become a channel member. And this is Shattered Glass Starscream. Now, if you didn't like the tetrajet mold, I don't know if there's anything here that's going to change your mind. Although there is something noteworthy about it. He does come with a couple of new accessories as well. We'll talk about those and whether I think they're a success. We're going to see comparisons with Shattered Glass Megatron, with a couple of Starscreams, with Jetfire, Skyfire, because I think that's really where this guy sort of shines. I think he's good. Is he perfect? Well, we're about to find out when we head over to the table and take a closer look at this guy. And in the realm of Shattered Glass, one of the best good guys going is Starscream. Yep, that's the way it is. This, of course, is the Shattered Glass Starscream. Unexpectedly, this was released in Canada at GameStop, along with the Megatron. I don't know. I'm confused by how that came about. Everybody's confused as what you are, I presume. But yeah, so Starscream, this is not going to be a long one. It doesn't need to be a long one. This is another reuse of the tetrajet mold, which I absolutely adore. I'm just going to say now that the transformation, for me, in my experience with this mold, a lot of people have said that they've had QC issues and whatnot, the chest popping up and all that sort of stuff. I find this guy to be the tightest tolerance, the most solid feeling use of this mold from all other 9 uses of it that I have. This is, bar none, the best, most solid feeling use, at least for me. I'm going to say the transformation is a solid 10. We'll talk about the rest when we get there. I'm not going to show the transformation. I've shown it a billion times on the channel going in both directions. I'm saying it's 10. I absolutely love it. If you didn't like the tetrajet mold to begin with, nothing here is going to change it for you. If you did, then this is another terrific use of it. Of course, before we really talk about this guy, you know what we got to do. Packaging first. And boy, oh boy, do I love this Shattered Glass packaging. Of course, Shattered Glass Starscream up there. We have him over here as well with his null rays. You can see the angular look of the box, especially like from the top, right? You can really see like the angular look of it and whatnot. I like it. This is my first box because my other ones that I have for Shattered Glass came from our buddy Razor Bear and came from Pulse. And every single one of them, the box was crumpled or crushed or broken or something. This is the first time I've experienced the nice Shattered Glass packaging, and I'm gonna tell you now, seeing it on the shelf in store at retail, boy, oh boy, does it ever pop. On the back, of course, we have Starscream. He does come with 2 swords. We're going to talk about those a little bit. And it says, of course, that he's a scientist. He makes weapons for the war, hoping one day that peace will come and he doesn't need to do that anymore. In other words, Shattered Glass Starscream's personality is really darn similar to that of Autobot, Jetfire, Skyfire, which of course makes sense since they were like best friends, at least the ones we know in G1, and we're going to kind of see this guy in robot mode anyway compared to Jetfire / Skyfire. I'm saying Skyfire. But that's it for the packaging. Here we have instructions. They're big, they're bright, they look good. I like them. I don't think we really need them because I think everybody knows the tetrajet mold. Not a whole lot to talk about here. Again, this looks like a tetrajet. We have some red plastic, well, red paint here and red plastic here. It's a close match, not perfect, but close. On the back, all of this is paint. We have translucent there, which I do like. I like that the Decepticon logo is a nice, like, deep red as well. The swords and the blasters underneath, the way that they tab in the blasters around the arms, the swords are up on the wings of the jet. Everything is super duper solid and secure with this version of the mold. Now, some people have said, hey, why did they use the tetrajet mold? Well, that's pretty easy. You gotta remember, Shattered Glass first came to BotCon back in about 2008, and the mold that was used then for Shattered Glass Starscream was like a Cybertron or an Energon or something Voyager mold that turned into a tetrajet. Actually, I think it was called a Starfighter, but it was a tetrajet, right? So like from the beginning, from his inception, he's really been a tetrajet, and that's why they used the tetrajet mold here. At least that's what I think. Yes, granted, there was a Combiner Wars one that was issued in 2016, 2017, something like that. I think it was like the last like collector club one or something, but that one, again, was kind of stylized. So I feel like they sort of went back to their BotCon roots here by using the tetrajet mold. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room. I don't know how clear this is coming across. We have two translucent swords. They're blue, which I think makes sense for the good guys. The handle, the hilt, whatever you want to call it, that's all painted red. I think it's the elephant in the room because we have these two 5mm pegs. They're painted. I think as you put them like in Starscream's arms and wings and stuff, I think that the paint will eventually wear off. Same with the handles. The handle's painted red. As you put it in his hand and whatnot, I think eventually you're going to have the paint wear off. These can go together to become one sword. I don't know how well this is coming across because it's hard to focus this, but I'm trying for you guys. There it is together. It's weird to have one handle that's long and the other that's not. I don't know. I mean, it's cool to have, but this is iffy success to me. And here he is next to a couple of other Starscreams that we know, and honestly I feel like he pops the most. I really do. Now I love the Siege Starscream. I think it's pretty much quintessential. I did do some custom paint work on mine for sure. I prefer it vastly, infinitely over the Earthrise. The Earthrise wins with the head sculpt, and it wins with the alt mode being the Earth mode jet that we all know and love from the original cartoon. But in terms of articulation and size and stability and really everything else, I don't understand why people would prefer the Earthrise. There's no, wrist swivel. The elbow is more limited, the back of the arm is hollow, there's no waist, the hip skirt is all one piece, we got those ugly rear wings on the legs. So I'm glad that they used the tetrajet mold for two reasons. One, because I think it's the better mold, but two, because if we, again, go back to that source material like I said earlier, it is really the jet mode that he had in BotCon in 2008 to begin with. And whereas Optimus Prime, the evil Optimus Prime, has a few followers now, that being Blur, who I looked at here on the channel, as well as Ratchet, that he came with, and Goldbug, who I also recently looked at here on the channel. All we have for, like, the good guys, so to speak, right now anyway, is Starscream and his leader, Megatron. And of course, Megatron actually thinks Starscream is brilliant. He actually believes Starscream is brilliant. And just because the good guys and the bad guys. And I know that they're the same molds, but for some reason, I feel like the Shattered Glass versions stand taller or have more stature, or I can't put my finger on it. But I do feel like, for some reason, it looks more, I don't know, imposing, I suppose, with the Shattered Glass coloration. Weird, I know. So transformation, I'm saying again, is a 10. Let's talk the articulation again for a few moments. The wings can go back, they can angle up, they can move all around. The head goes left and right. It looks up a little bit, it looks down a little bit. The arms, as we know from the past, can go all the way around, out to the side. We have super deep elbow. Wrist swivel that I talked about. Wrist swivel that I talked about earlier. This guy has a waist. Super high kick all the way out to the front. We have a kick to the back a bit. We have a thigh swivel built inside the thigh. We have pretty tremendous knee, honestly. Ankle tilt. and toe forward, heel forward. Like 10. The articulation's a 10. He can do anything I want him to do. And I don't know if I show this. This goes all the way out to the side, but these also go all the way out to the side. The Earthrise can't go all the way out to the side. No waist. The wings I find a little more limited. So I don't know. I prefer this. To me, it's 10 and a 10. And then we get to the coloration. And the coloration, of course, is meant to homage this. And does a pretty respectable job, if I do say so myself, going from the red on the pauldrons, which is like the red up here, feeding into the black on the chest, which feeds into the red on the chest, which feeds into the white on the chest. Of course, because this is a Seeker, we have the cockpit there, and because it's a good guy this time, of course it has blue. But there is one thing that bugs me about it. Despite all of the paint, despite everything, the one thing that bugs me is that they used 2 different types of plastic, and I get that, that's fine, but they're not the same shade of white. So the bicep isn't the same shade of white as the shoulder and the forearm. The knee, if I bend it, the knee in here isn't the same shade of white. If we go over here on the wings, maybe I can lift this up out of the way. The section in right here, for example, is not the same shade of white as out there. So that's a bummer. I wanted to give this a 10 as well. I wanted to give this thing 10s across the board and say it's really a perfect Transformer, honestly. But I gotta give that, because of the coloration, I gotta give it about a 9. It's tremendous, but a slight bummer. Now, some people might prefer that. They might like the breakup of the stark white. I don't. I'm not one of those guys. I wish that it did all look the same. That being said, a 10, and a 9, this is still a tremendous mold. This is arguably, in my experience, with my copy, the best use of it. I couldn't be happier. And here we are once again, and here he is. So function-wise, solidity-wise, this is, bar none, the single best use of the tetrajet mold that I have experienced. Now, I have not had the QC with the chest popping off and stuff that people have talked about. Some people have talked about breaking the wings and stuff. I don't even understand how you do that. I really don't, but I know it's happened to some people. All of mine have been pretty fantastic. Maybe I've been lucky. This is the single most solid use of the mold. And I love the fact that the good guy version of Starscream, kind of logically, has the color layout, color palette of really who is arguably his best friend from G1. The sword, I think it's cool to have. I'm skeptical about how long the paint is going to last on it, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's cured super duper good and will always be tremendous. But I see a lot of potential there for both the handle and the millimeter or the 5mm pegs to suffer from some rub over time. I do wish that all of the white was the same shade of white. Some people will like that it's a bit different because it breaks up the solidity. I would like for it to be solid. I mean, it is what it is, to each their own. I like the tetrajet mold. I think this is another very, very, very successful use of it. If you didn't like the tetrajet mold, I don't know if this will be for you. But if you're on the fence and you're like, I'd like to have one version of it, and I do like Shattered Glass, I think that this is the best use of it, at least in my experience. Let me know what you think about Shattered Glass Starscream, and the Shattered Glass line for that matter. I appreciate you guys coming by, giving me some of your extremely valuable time. I do know how important it is to you. If you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link, check us out on Patreon, see what we offer to you through Teespring, or of course, hit the join button right here on YouTube and become a channel member. While you're at it, hit the subscribe button, stick around, have some fun with us, and don't forget that somehow, someway, each and every single solitary day, you do make a difference. You really, really do. Don't ever forget it, man. And I look forward to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit, either in the live streams on Thursday nights at the stop motion premieres or the old-fashioned way, baby. Right here, inside the videos.